Greetings to you and welcome. I'm Reverend Corey Passons with Interfaith Works, and I want to thank you for being here today and welcome you to this space of remembrance. Your presence is appreciated as we gather here in community. This memorial service is a collaboration between Interfaith Works, Mills & Mills Funeral Home, and the Thurston County Coroner's Office to remember and honor those who have passed in Thurston County in the last year and whose remains have gone unclaimed for whatever reason. Once a year, we create this space to uphold their lives and honor them, though we might not have known them. This service also holds space and remembers those who have died by suicide in our county in this past year, as well as those who've died while experiencing homelessness in our region. There are times when it can be hard to remember how deeply we all belong to one another. The intensity of our political rhetoric, sometimes even the surety of our religious traditions, can create seeming barriers that designate someone as them and another as us. But these labels are an illusion. There's no us and them when it comes to belonging to the one human family. We all belong. And while our service today cannot heal all of the divisions that have been created, it can be a reminder that we must stay vigilant to such divisions and seek ways to build beloved community. We all belong. So today we name those who we might not know, and we affirm how they belong and how we belong to them. Each of them were a sacred being, each of us sacred beings, all people sacred. The best outcomes from our wisdom traditions and our religious traditions are not measured by how they make us feel. Rather, the best outcomes of our traditions are measured by the injustice they correct and the healing that they bring. To whatever degree those we are honoring today suffered injustice, we ask their forgiveness and commit ourselves to a better world. Perhaps they navigated mental illness, but our systems could not or would not support them with care that met their needs. Perhaps those we honor today navigated a housing market more concerned with profit than with people, and found themselves unable to afford the basic security of shelter. Perhaps they struggled with addiction and felt powerless to get the help they need as they were burdened by societal shame or the financial barriers to seeking help. Let us pause to recognize the many ways that people have suffered and continue to suffer injustice. We honor their lives by gathering today and by working to amend the injustices that so many of them suffered while they lived. So thank you for being here. Your presence is an affirmation of the way we hold each other, the way we name how we belong, and the way we remember what is most important on this shared journey of life. I'm so glad that you are here. I want to welcome Amy Cooper, who's Interfaith Relations Staff Support at Interfaith Works, for our first reading today, The Healing That Comes by Jan Richardson.
The healing that comes. I know how long you have been waiting for your story to take a different turn. How far you have gone in search of what will mend you and make you whole. I bear no remedy, no cure, no miracle for easing of your pain. But I know the medicine that lives in a story that has been broken open. I know the healing that comes in ceasing to hide ourselves away, with fingers clutched around the fragments we think are none but ours. See how they fit together. these shards we have been carrying, how in their meeting they make a way we could not find alone.
I want to welcome Meg Martin, who's the Director of Integrative Services with Interfaith Works, to guide us in the litany today. And when we come to the portion where we're lighting candles for the names of the persons that we're remembering, I'll be joined by Reverend Denise Roberts of St. Andrew's United Methodist Church, who will offer a closing benediction today as well. Meg?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. This is one of the most special events I think that Interfaith Works does throughout the year. I talk a lot about how important it is to bring visibility to the lives of folks who are on the streets or maybe who would otherwise go invisible, and we talk about that as well with their passing. And so, like Corey said, for all of you to be here and to be with us today is such an important act of healing some of those injustices that people have experienced, and that invisibility that can be so psychologically tormenting for folks who are living it. So thank you so much. It really means everything. We gather today to mourn the deaths and celebrate the lives of those who died among us in this community, who went unclaimed, died while houseless, or died of suicide. Many of us do not know their stories or who they were, but we know their lives had meaning and value in the world, and we gather today to remember and recognize their humanity and dignity as members of one human family. Each of these were people who had parents and other family. They may have had children, grandchildren, siblings, and parents. They were someone's friend, neighbor, coworker, client, or patient. Their lives have included marriages and divorces, parenthood, scholarship, legal troubles, military service, homeownership, jobs, illnesses, and all the ordinary and extraordinary joys and sorrows of life. They had dreams. They were unique. They were sacred, each and every one. We remember them today, and we honor them by reading their names and lighting a candle for each name that we read. So I will start with the names of the unclaimed dead. Bruce Pulford, John Ferguson, Eldred Dahl, David Saunders, Sr., Steve McCallum, Victor Whalen, Cheryl Grodeck, Glenna Robinson, Robert Watson, Terry Williams, Robert Monroe, Jeffrey Sharp, Roy Agnew, Julie Brown, Joy Finley, Randy Nickel, Terry Downer, Janie Weebling, George Bacchus, Thomas Wutzke, Maximilian Ledesma, Stephen Houston, Dong Orr, Timothy Cressy, Josephine Cervantes, Douglas Shoup, Timothy Beavers, Vernon Johnson, Bonnie Mills, Alan Huff, Lester Chesser, Richard Appleton, Richard Harrison, Robin Hall, Olivia Lundstrom, Joseph George, John Orion, Betty Jo Push, Shelley Drummer, now I will read the names of those who have died while experiencing homelessness over the past year. There are a couple of repeats I'm noticing. William Ward, Rachel Westbrook, I only have, yeah. Laura Willis, Randy Nickel, Tim the Rockman Beavers, Maddie Hope, Zebediah Schoening, Donkey, Devin, Matt, Pops, an unknown person who passed outside of the dialysis treatment center, Richard, and Savannah Marie Filer. And while we won't read the names of those who died by suicide, we had 46 persons who died by suicide in Thurston County since we last gathered here. Thank you. So now that the candles are lit and we've taken a moment with people's names, if we can hold them in our hearts and know that while we named as many as we could, we certainly didn't get everyone. And there are still people who have passed on that have not been acknowledged. And so I would ask if you would all maybe hold those folks in your heart, as well as anyone who you may have lost in the last year that you want to carry with you, hold with you as we read this responsive liturgy. So I'll read the first part and then you'll respond with "Grant them peace and light." It's in your program on page 5. Today we pray for these individuals and for all of our beloved dead. For those who are our neighbors, coworkers, family, clients, or customers. For those who we may have offended or who have offended us. For those who died from sickness, disease, or addiction. For those who died after a long life, and for those who died young. For those who died slowly, painfully, or from prolonged illness. For those who died suddenly or unexpectedly. For those who died in poverty-stricken or dehumanizing conditions. For those who died by violence, abuse, or neglect. For those who died by suicide, in despair, or without hope. For those who died unreconciled with family or community. For those who died amidst broken promises and unfulfilled dreams. For those who died alone or unloved, unmourned or forgotten. For all of us, the living, gathered here today. Light into the world. May it be so.
We'll place the names of those that we've recognized today on the altar by the candles as we appreciate the music offered to us today by Penny and Marianne. Thank you. I want to welcome Marcia LaVilla for our next reading today. Marcy is currently serving as Interfaith Works Board President. Thank you for being here, Marcy.
This is also in your program if you want to read along. The Thing Is, by Ellen Bass. To love life, to love it even when you have no stomach for it, and everything you've held dear crumbles like burnt paper in your hands, your throat filled with the silt of it. When grief sits with you, its tropical heat thickening the air, heavy as water more fit for gills than lungs. When grief weighs you down like your own flesh, only more of it, an obesity of grief. You think, how can a body withstand this? Then you hold life like a face between your palms, a plain face, no charming smile, no violet eyes, and you say, yes, I will take you. I will love you again.
Today, our closing message and benediction will be offered by Reverend Denise Roberts, who joined us for the lighting of the candles. Reverend Roberts is the pastor at St. Andrew's United Methodist Church. Welcome.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. For myself, probably as well as all of you, it's been a busy week, and I thought, oh, I've got a tough thing I've got to do this afternoon. And in lighting the candles, I realized, Meg, you had the absolute toughest job of reading so many names, and I just knew that you were feeling each of those lives. So God bless you for your reading. It was profound. Thank you. Corey mentioned that I'm Denise Roberts, and I serve at St. Andrew's United Methodist Church, and it's a pleasure to be here. This is my first time here, even though I've been in this area almost 6 years. And hopefully it's not my last time at the event. And Corey, thank you so much for inviting me. It's truly an honor to be here and part of this gathering as we come together to remember those that have been loved and that have been lost, and also to renew our commitment to one another and to community. Part of that commitment is not forgetting those who have been loved and lost. Like you, my journey here to this day of remembrance, it started with a single connection. It started with a friendship that opened my heart and brought home the reality of societal struggles and challenges that we are facing, particularly in regard to homelessness. Friends, today we gather in remembrance, and we've come here to honor lives that ended maybe in a number of cases too soon, or in some circumstances too harsh. We come to remember those from our community who've died in the last year, lives that ended in the shadow of poverty, those whose remains have gone unclaimed, those who may have passed with little notice, those who faced loneliness and isolation, those who left this world through their own choice, those who left this world experiencing homelessness or suffering from injustices that they had no control over, and those who left this world without the simple recognition of their humanity. For each of them, we gently hold space today. We're here to honor their lives that matter deeply, even if they were too often unseen. Many of these individuals died without family present, without friends by their side, with their stories ending in places that we often look away from or overlook entirely. Their passing is felt here today, and we hold their memories with reverence. For some of us, these are not distant stories. I have a personal reason for being here today. For many years, I volunteered at a women's day shelter, and I became close with one of the women there. I'd see her every week, and we'd chat. And I remember her story, I remember her resilience and her warmth. And then one day she was gone. Her life was taken in a place where she sought refuge, under a bridge at night. Under that bridge was where she found her final resting place. She was a victim of violence. Today we remember her and others like her, whose lives touch our own quietly and profoundly, shaping the heart of our community. And what is so troubling, is that for many of these deaths, there's no formal record. There's no national database for these lives that are lost. There's no official count that tells us how many people in our nation die each year while experiencing homelessness. Yet each of these lives has a value to us and to God. And every one of those losses reminds us of our shared responsibility. These are not inevitable deaths. Many of them are preventable. People pass away from the cold, from lack of shelter, from treatable health conditions, from violence, from the sheer weariness of life on the streets. These tragedies reflect the challenges that we face as a society, and they are a reminder of what still needs to change. Each of these individuals reminds us of the preciousness of life and the need to create a world. And I know I'm being a Pollyanna here, but I can't help myself because I do believe there's a world where everyone can be in a place of safety and be part of a community of belonging and can feel the care that we all deserve. Today, I want to lift up with gratitude those who have dedicated their lives towards working for this vision. The advocates, the neighbors, the allies, the friends, the service providers, the organizations, the religious leaders, the city representatives, the students, the concerned citizens, those who labor in shelter, the nonprofits, the community center, the clinics, and those that tend to those who are living on the streets. They offer not only material support, they offer compassion. They offer connection and comfort and hope. Their work, our work, is a light that refuses to let the dignity of our neighbors fade into darkness. This work, though it is vital, it can't accomplish all that it's needed on its own. It takes a commitment from all of us. Perhaps today, as we remember those we have lost, we can consider how we might be called to honor these lives in our actions. Perhaps it's by advocating for housing rights or supporting programs that offer shelter and resources. Maybe it's about lifting our voices to demand that our communities officially acknowledge these deaths so that they don't pass unnoticed. I hope that we can all lift up the power of compassion, the small ways that we can see and affirm one another, that we can offer one another dignity and hope, especially where those signs of humanity seem to be lost. In this moment of remembrance today, may our hearts be moved towards justice and compassion. May we recognize that no life should be left uncounted, no loss dismissed, and no one abandoned to the margins. As we sit here together, let's hold in our hearts both those that we have lost and those who remain steadfast in the struggle, bearing witness to the suffering and offering healing, offering hope. Friends, let's honor the dignity of every life. Let's see the interconnectedness of every person. And let's pray individually, collectively, communally, interdenominationally, and across all of our faith traditions, so that our prayers, all of our prayers and our collective compassion to overcome this crisis of homelessness, that our prayers can combine to be something greater than what any of us could do alone. I pray as we leave this place that we can carry this intention forward as a shared commitment to honoring each life, strengthening us, strengthening our community. And all God's people say, amen. Thank you.
As we close our time together today, I'd like to thank the Thurston County Coroner's Office for partnering with us, and for Mills & Mills Funeral Home, who not only offer space to host this event, but they receive the unclaimed remains from the coroner's office and they inter them here, offering care until a final moment of stewardship. They're held here in waiting. We also want to thank Reverend Denise Roberts of St. Andrew's United Methodist Church for her remarks and reflections today. Thank you so much. Thanks to Meg Martin and Amy Cooper for helping in the liturgy and the program support, and for Marcy LaVilla for reading today, for Mary Ann Gurin and Penny Perkerson for the music. Thank you so much. And thanks to all of you who are here today with us. As we go forth, I offer you a blessing of peace, a blessing of remembrance of your beauty, your sacredness, and the gifts which only you can bring to a world desperately in need of them. Peace to you, and be well.